I'm expecting good things from Tottenham. Move on to preview the UEFA Super Cup final, and it's weird that we call this the UEFA. Actually, technically, maybe I'm saying it wrong. It's just the UEFA Super Cup, but I've heard it become the UEFA Super Cup final. Why are you saying UEFA Super Cup final? It's not really a final. These it's only one game this whole tournament, but okay, or this game. But Kylian Mbappe is gonna make his competitive, or probably I don't think he played preseason, so he's gonna make his Real Madrid debut in the Super Cup against Atalanta. Real Madrid, they were able to reach, be in this game because of the fact that they won the Champions League, and they did that in supreme fashion, being able to get past Borussia Dortmund. Atalanta, on the other hand, they were able to beat, I'm talking about just the final, but obviously winning the Champions League is a whole process, it's a whole tournament that you're having to get there. So they won the Champions League, and in the final, they defeated Borussia Dortmund. And Atalanta, they won the Europa League last season, and they did it in supreme dominant fashion in the final, where they were able to defeat Bayer Leverkusen 3-0. Keep in mind, Bayer Leverkusen, they lost one game in all competitions last season, and that was the only game they lost in all competitions last season, which shows the kind of remarkable feat Atalanta were able to achieve in that final. They won 3-0. Lukman had a hat-trick in that final, in that sort of historic final, Europa League final performance that go down in lights. This game will be played in Warsaw, Poland. We'll be hosting this game. The national stadium in Warsaw. You're gonna have about 58,000 fans there, and trust me, it's gonna be packed with Mbappe's first real debut for Real Madrid. And he's gonna be ready to make his debut. Carlo Ancelotti said Mbappe is in good shape, and he's been adapting well to the team. And Ancelotti said in the press conference that Mbappe could play tomorrow. I'm assuming Mbappe is going to play. I think he might even start. And he joins a team full of stars with Vinicius Jr., Jude Bellingham, Rodrigo. There's also another new signing, Endrick, who I think has a little bit less of a chance of making his Real Madrid debut tomorrow. A lot less of a chance to make his Real Madrid debut tomorrow. But there's going to be players. It's interesting. Gianpiero Gasparino saying it's going to be essentially difficult for Atalanta to have that sort of similar season that they had last season. He said the team has weakened. Not in the press conference today, but I'm talking about. I heard this about a few weeks ago. That he came out and said, you know what? I'm not gonna put words in his mouth, so I'm gonna read exactly what he said. While I pull that up, but overall, I think this game has a chance to be interesting. He said they're much less competitive than they were at the end of last season, which is an interesting thing to say. We know that they lost Tion Kopenminers when he joined Juventus, and Gianluca Scamocca and Giorgio Scalavini. They both are ACL injuries, and they're going to be out for probably all of this season. And so, he says, Sperino said Atalanta are much less competitive than end of last season. It's inevitable that it's turned out like this, but that at the moment the season has already become complicated. We had 2 very serious injuries, 2 crucial ligaments in practically 3 games with Scalvini and Scamacca, and then the Cup minor situation. 3 technically gifted and economically valuable players for the team and the club. So, they've had a little bit of a rough preseason, but they're coming in on good momentum from what they did build at the end of last season. And Atalanta generally have not been afraid to what's the word, to they're not afraid to be competitive in these games. They're not afraid to go after these teams, to play high and to to go for it against these teams. They play with supreme confidence. They play with supreme ability, and um they they show the spirit of Gian Piero Gasperino. They really establish the spirit that he has provided for the team, and they're a very very good team. They are very very good. They have some quality there despite the players that they've lost, and so I think it makes it. I think it's gonna be a very fun game, very open ended game. I think both teams will go for it. I think both teams will really go for it in this game. I think we'll see the best teams from these two teams. I think this is a trophy that this is not like the Community Shield in terms of will this team take it seriously or not. I think this is the fact that there's that added element. This is a European trophy, and I think this is gonna be taken a little bit more seriously. I think it will be taken very very seriously. I know you've seen teams in the past. They've took it seriously, and I don't expect that to be any different here. I think we're gonna see some real quality across both sides of the pitch. And obviously Real Madrid are the clear favorites. It's Real Madrid's nature. It's Real Madrid's tradition. If there's a trophy on the line, you show up, you win it, and you win it in supreme fashion. That's just the nature of being Real Madrid. That's just the nature of Real Madrid. That's just the belief of Real Madrid. You're playing for a trophy. By nature, they're gonna give it everything that they have, and everything's gonna break for them, and they're gonna get that trophy. That's just what they are, and I see it being no different today. I think Real Madrid, or today, tomorrow, whatever you want to call it, I think Real Madrid will get this victory over Atalanta. I think the big time players will show up for them. I think the experience will see them through, and I think Atalanta, they're coming in on off of a little bit of a rough preseason with the injuries lost. But I think overall it's gonna be a good game, and I'm very interested to see if Mbappe will be able to make that debut in this game. Show break here coming up. When we come back, we'll react to some of the top soccer headlines.